Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf thanks the United States for its help and compassion during a difficult time in her country. Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, in full military uniform, seeks to boost the morale of his troops as he promises to defeat Boko Haram. And he is sleek and hip, a Senegalese musician who loves to sing about his hometown. Africa 54 starts right now. Good evening, I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. At this hour, Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is at the White House meeting with President Barack Obama. President Sirleaf is on her first trip to Washington since her country declared a state of emergency over the Ebola outbreak last July. Mrs. Sirleaf has acknowledged the difference American involvement has made in the fight against the deadly virus. VOA's Mariama Diallo tells us more.
7 months after the Ebola outbreak turned Liberia upside down, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf came to say thanks to a country she says did so much.
You did not run from Liberia. With many of our global challenges, America stood up, and America stood with us.
Late last year, the Ebola-stricken nations of Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea saw about 800 new cases a week. Of those afflicted by the deadly virus, Liberia, where about 4,000 people have died, is seen as the most advanced in curbing the disease's spread. Earlier this month, children lined up again to go back to school, and borders between the neighboring countries reopened. But President Sirleaf says as her country celebrates success, the fight is not over.
We are transitioning from treatment to prevention with the support of over 100 partners from 26 countries. Liberia's only 218 medical doctors and 5,234 nurses to serve a population of 4.3 million. And we know that these facts will not change overnight.
U.S. Senator Chris Coons, who invited President Sirleaf to speak at the U.S. Senate offices, visited Liberia during the height of the outbreak.
One of the hardest things for leaders to do is to ask for help. They tend to think doing so is a sign of weakness, but the truth is what it really signals is dedication and strength.
As Liberia and neighboring countries see progress, President Barack Obama recently said most of the 3,000 troops deployed to West Africa to help contain Ebola will be back in the U.S. by the end of April. But he's not yet declaring it mission accomplished until the virus is extinguished.
Our focus now is getting to zero. Because as long as there's even one case of Ebola that's active out there, risks still exist. Every case is an ember that, if not contained, can light a new fire.
This week, the United Nations called for more funding support for the next phase of bringing the number of cases down to zero.
One of the biggest risks we face right now is that new financing for this response is falling faster than the new cases.
And as long as the virus is there, he says, it can spread and escalate. In Washington, Mariama Diallo, VOA News.
Well, for more on what President Sirleaf's visit means to the people of Liberia, joining us on the phone from Monrovia, Liberia, is Anthony Stephens, news editor at Power TV. Anthony, welcome to Africa 54. Now, President Sirleaf has been to Washington before, but how significant is this particular trip?
Well, this visit is very significant for the country. There are mixed reactions back home to this visit. Some Liberians, particularly government officials, feel that this visit is important because it will help to bring the country back on course. Liberia, was devastated by the Ebola outbreak, and the president is going to ensure through that visit with through that visit, the talks with U.S. President Barack Obama to ensure that things get back on track, things get back on course. There are other Liberians, however, who hold to the view that the president is using this visit as a grandstand. She's using this visit to remake herself, because prior to the Ebola outbreak, there were a lot of things that were not going on properly in Liberia. The economy was crumbling. Even some opposition politicians were calling for a resignation. So they do hold the view, those in the opposition bloc, they do hold the view that the president is using this visit to remake herself.
Now, in terms of what the Liberian people expect out of this trip, what do they want to see more coming from the United States, despite the fact that the President of the United States has said most of the troops that were sent there will be coming back?
Well, first, the troops' presence has been very significant for the Ebola fight. Though they were not visibly seen in the streets, they helped to build some ETUs. They collaborated with the armed forces of Liberia in engaging in some citizen-driven initiative. They also were able to train some healthcare workers. Liberians really expect that this visit will help the country to get back on course. You know, principally the economy was really ravaged by the Ebola outbreak, and the healthcare system also. There are a lot of Liberians who hold the view back home that this visit can help to ensure that the health system is resuscitated. The country's premier hospital, the JFK, has been lying in shambles. Even before the Ebola outbreak, the JFK was like a white elephant, and the Ebola outbreak worsened the situation. So it really paralyzed the entire country healthcare system, the Ebola outbreak. So many Liberians are hoping that it is not only that the economy will be revitalized or resuscitated, they are also hoping that the healthcare system will be revitalized.
Okay. Anthony, thank you very much. Anthony Stephens is a news editor at Power TV in Monrovia, Liberia, still in the same region. Now to Nigeria, where President Goodluck Jonathan has visited some towns that have been recaptured from Boko Haram. The visit appears to be an attempt to boost the morale of Nigerian troops battling the terrorist group in the country's northeast region. Channels TV correspondent Chikuma Onekusi reports.
Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
The combat-ready president and commander-in-chief may have had three things in mind while visiting the war fronts in Mubi, Adamawa State and Baga in Borno State. Firstly, to commend the gallant soldiers for the able way they recaptured territories formerly in the hands of the insurgents, a proof that they can protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria, and shame those who had concluded that it was impossible.
For this time, we didn't have enough material to confront the terrorists. But now, at least, we'll receive significant number of weapons that has been improving the operations. We are pleased with you, what we are doing. We'll continue to encourage you. The whole world appreciates the strength of the Nigerian army because of your peacekeeping operations. Because of the Nigerian army, we're able to stabilize a number of West African and indeed African countries. Because the world was wondering what was happening to Nigeria. These the Nigerian soldiers, we know that Boko Haram held them to ransom for a very long time. But things have changed now. We are very happy with what we are doing.
How to continue to reinforce them with necessary equipment and logistics to complete the mission, as well as their welfare, including rewards for the soldiers when it is all said and done, especially with families of soldiers who lost their lives in this battle, is next on his mind.
But be rest assured that anything that is due you, you'll surely get it. And all of you who have showed gallantry will be rewarded according to the traditions of the armed forces and according to the rules and regulations governing the operations and, of course, the goodwill of Nigerians and their country.
The soldiers' response was reassuring as they chant gallantly.
Never again! Never again! Never again!
Lastly, the president is glad with the return of the Emir of Mubi, He promised him and other displaced persons who are returning of speedy resettlement.
We are here for a tour, also to look at the level of devastation and to what extent the federal government would assist to cushion the effects, especially as we rehabilitate our people to come back. But the main thing, the key thing, is to make sure that we flush the Boko Haram out of Nigeria and will not allow them to go into any other country. Collectively, Nigeria, Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and Benin will make sure that the story of Boko Haram will come to an end, and very soon.
The president, who was accompanied on the inspection by service chiefs, spent several hours taking area view of the towns recently recaptured, just to reassure himself that of a fact the Nigerian soldiers are equal to the task they have undertaken to safeguard lives and property in Nigeria. Chukwuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
Well, a Saudi man is facing life sentence following his conviction in connection with the 1998 bombings of 2 U.S. embassies in East Africa. Khalid Al-Fawaz, an accused leader of Al-Qaeda, was found guilty of 4 counts of conspiracy Thursday by a jury in New York. Prosecutors say Fawaz was not accused of helping to plan the bombings, but instead worked as an operative for Osama bin Laden, including at a training camp for terrorists in Afghanistan. The August 1998 bombings of the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania killed 224 people. Well, a Congolese warlord is a free man after the appeals chamber of the International Criminal Court confirmed his acquittal Friday. Mathieu Ngudjolo Chui was set free by a majority of 3-2 decision by the panel of judges. He had been charged with killings during a war in the Ituri district of the Democratic Republic of Congo in 2003. In December 2012, the ICC found Ngudjolo not guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity, including overseeing killings, rape and pillage.
In sum, the appeals chamber by majority, Judge Tafosa and Judge Trandafilo dissenting, confirms the acquittal decision and rejects the appeal.
The violence in Ituri was a localized ethnic clash over land and resources among several conflicts that spun out of the wider war in the DRC from 1998 to 2003. Now, each February, the United Nations holds the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, or FMG. And the practice is believed to affect more than 140 million women and girls globally. In a remote rural district in southwest Kenya, the practice is deeply rooted, and the community doesn't shy away from what it is doing. Mohammed Yusuf tells us more.
They dance along the highway and in the roads that connect the remote villages. Everyone is in a celebratory mood, for a circumcision ceremony has just been completed. Circumcision for boys is legal in Kenya. Female genital mutilation is not. But the Kuria community in southwest Kenya openly practices female circumcision, and no police officer dares to stop them. Some police officers and government officials who did not want to appear on camera told VOA they were outnumbered and the community will turn against them if they try to act. Away from the streets, we caught up with these 2 teenage girls who underwent the cut that morning. You could see the trauma on their faces as even this elderly woman tries to cheer them up and assure them of their rightful place in Korea society. They are prepared and ready to join the rest of the girls who have been circumcised, which signals their transition into adulthood. A stone's throw away from the celebration, a church is hosting more than 20 girls who have been rescued from the cart. In the church, they are taught 3 main subjects: mathematics, English and religious studies. In today's religious studies class, they learn what the Bible says about female genital mutilation. Pendo Gati is a survivor of FGM and a high school graduate. She says she felt unsafe in the community.
Couldn't stay with them because, see, there's a day he had a rumor that even if he won't be there, there are some boys, say the youth, the boys mainly, who will come and just harass or wherever we live. Okay, not exactly me, but the girls who are there. As they say, the girls who are in the Kuria clan, they have to go through that thing. They don't have to stay like that. They can't stay with people who have not undergone that stage.
Those who have escaped circumcision, turning against centuries of tradition, have faced abuse and curses. Robbie Marwa is a head teacher at a secondary school.
You know, during my wedding, when I was getting married, here in this church at Taranganya, some people from my home area where I had come from, you know what they were saying? Yes, the wedding is good, but they are not going to see a leg of a child. You know, the people now were asking, why is she not going to see a leg of her child? They said, she's already cursed. She can't give birth.
That curse and bad mouthing are in the past today. She has 4 children, is a university graduate, and has become a role model to many girls in her community. Florence Gashanja works with the United Nations Population Fund to combat FGM. She says despite the open celebrations in the streets of Korea, people are working hard to fight the practice.
We can't say because we see a section of people celebrating on the streets that nothing is going on. There are those who are working underground, you know, trying to, because it is not something that you'll start, even in many communities, the educated or those who feel they cannot circumcise, they won't stand and say it openly, but they are doing it behind the scenes.
The FGM prevalence rate stands at about 27% nationally in Kenya, and officials say that in some areas the practice is still very common. Mohammed Yusuf for VOA News, Kehancha, Kenya.
Well, we want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Well, coming up, we'll take you to Senegal on the music of One Pac. Stay with us.
We were poor, but happy in rural North Carolina. One night, a drunken driver hit us, and my baby sister suffered a traumatic brain injury. That made me determined to work in healthcare. I realized creating healthcare policy can make a big difference. I traveled the world to work on HIV/AIDS legislation. As a lobbyist, I take great pride in moving the public health agenda. To me, Black History Month celebrates the chance to dream beyond what is possible. My name is Arathan A.J. Jones, and I am a government affairs executive.
Welcome back. It's Music Makers Friday, and today we bring you Senegalese star One Pac. Here to tell us more about him is VOA's Khalil Gay, who interviewed him just a while back. Khalil, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Vincent.
Yes, so you did actually meet this very cool young fellow. He comes from your hometown.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what that
He comes from Saint Louis, Senegal, Saint-Louis du Sénégal in French, which is a special city regarding, if you consider the history of music in that city. You know, early in the 30s, people from Saint Louis were playing jazz by the river exactly at the same time Louis Armstrong and all those musicians were playing jazz.
Yes.
You know, and also the Saint Louisian, the people from Saint Louis grew up with American music, rock and roll, pop, soul, you know.
So that
and
there's
West.
a fusion of all
and
those
that
things.
fusion influenced this boy.
Okay.
You know, because his dad grew up in the 60s with the Beatles, CCR, James Brown, soul, you know.
That's cool.
So he grew up with that, and being a member of the hip-hop family today, his choice was, well, I think I got something more than the others. I have soul music, rock and roll, pop music.
Put it
I'm
all
going to use
together.
it, you know, do a blend, and bring out a new style of hip-hop.
And that produced this kind of video we are just about to watch. The song is called what? Dan Da?
That means son of Saint Louis.
Son of Saint Louis.
Right, exactly.
Let's
that
enjoy
is Saint Louis in Wolof.
Yeah. All right, let's enjoy this video.
saying? We like to get brother. I'm in Darbar. Some big ham, big like my favorite chicken. You move to take your bill, I'm sorry, like a yafe. I'm on the cream and I just tell you, my summertime. God, in the need, legit, that's my you fight, whatever, some God. Sango si géej gi lenkali ko ci dex gi doon doomu Ndar biir bëgg sama dëkk ba jeex ci fala juddoo yaroo màggee ba doon li ma doon amee naa la njukkal juddoo Ndar rek doy na koom day feeñ si sa jëmm feeñ sa education yar ak teggin fu laak fayda moo doon suñu fashion affaire u caaxaan bul ma ci sentu yoon bi dafa sori foog ma nekkal su may gént fàttalikul démb jamonoy tuuti tànk souvenir di taw booy mi ngi mel ni sànq alxuraan ji bi taw fala jànge daara lycée de Gaulle lycée Faidherbe jaar naa fa jàll fi ma jógee munoo fa dëkkee teroo doon kàngam day fekk nga ñàkk wërsëg dëgg wala nga sàggan dëkku Ahmadou Bamba dëkku Baden Sikki tax na fu ma dem si àdduna bi damay sikki.
Actually, you could see the resemblance between New Orleans and St. Louis, Senegal. Yeah. The same architects actually who built St. Louis built New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
History.
And you bring us a special report on this young fellow in the coming weeks.
Right.
Khalil, thank you very much for joining us today. And that is our Music Makers segment for this Friday. Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54. An NBA star uses his basketball skills to help fight malaria in Africa. We'll be right back.
Was by no means the focus of the witnesses' testimony. United Nations in August 2019.
Government departments handle.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here's what's trending. A mega hit song, millions of dollars, and a major star power. Now, Robin Thicke testified this week in a trial to determine whether the 2013 hit Bloodlines improperly copied elements of the late Marvin Gaye's music. Thicke reportedly played the keyboard on the witness stand to demonstrate that chord changes in many popular songs were similar. Now, the song's producer and co-performer Pharrell Williams was also in court, as was Gaye's ex-wife and his daughter, Nona Gaye. The court fight to determine whether Bloodlines ripped off Marvin Gaye's classic hit, Got to Give It Up, has lasted more than a year so far. Well, next up, everyone loves a good haircut. But for some lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender people, a good haircut meant enduring some ugly behavior at the barbershop. Enter Ken Catwell. She operates her own barbershop, camera-ready cuts from her apartment in Brooklyn, and caters to the grooming needs of LGBT people in New York City. Now, Catwell says she also has clients that come from all over the U.S. and Canada for her service. She adds that her clientele includes people from all backgrounds, sexual orientations, races and creeds, including members of Brooklyn's large Orthodox Hasidic Jewish community. And finally, it's the childhood favorite that is inspiring a new generation. Today, Danish company Lego is making more bricks than ever. In 2013, more than 3 million pieces were produced at the company's molding factory. And this year, the toys sold in more than 140 countries around the world. Sales of Lego, which is a combination of two Danish words meaning play well, were up about 15% in 2014. and the company is looking at a banner year in 2015. It seems the world never tires of the simple and colorful interlocking little bricks, and that is what is trending today. Well, it's time for our Friday Sports Report. Here's Sunny Young with the sunny side of sports. Hello, Sunny.
Hello, Vincent, and sporty greetings once again to our Africa 54 viewers. Here's a sunny side of sports salute to Stephen Curry, the star guard for the Golden State Warriors basketball club, who's using his stellar shooting ability in the fight against malaria in Africa. Curry donates 3 insecticide-treated mosquito nets for every 3-point shot he makes during games. 2 years ago, Curry set the NBA record for 3-point shots made with 272. Earlier this week, the 26-year-old Curry met with President Obama at the White House here in Washington to discuss the Nothing But Nets anti-malaria campaign. The young basketball star talks about his role in preventing malaria.
You just try to use your platform as best you can. And, a lot of people watch our games and may not be as aware of the problem of malaria and how preventable it is. And we raise a lot of money, and we can't thank the fans and people who supported it enough for all they did this year as well. It was approached by the UN Foundation and Nothing But Nets to help the cause, and we came up with the idea of just 3-point shots. Let's donate 3 nets for every shot I make, and thankfully we picked the right year. Obviously the record and trying to get as much publicity towards the effort as possible is a good year.
If you're keeping score, Stephen Curry made 3 3-point shots Thursday night, donated 9 more mosquito nets, and scored 18 points. But the NBA leading Warriors lost to LeBron James and the host Cleveland Cavaliers 110-99. LeBron scored a season-high 42 points. He and Stephen Curry are both top candidates for this season's Most Valuable Player award. I'm Sonny Young, and that's the sunny side of sports. Vincent?
Well, thanks a lot, Sonny, and be sure to check out the sunny side of sports every Monday and Friday right here on Africa 54. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. And for more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC, and in the mornings, Today Break Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching, and from all of us here, have a good night and a great weekend.
Hockey's my passion, but it's not always easy standing out on the ice. I credit my parents with giving me the discipline and confidence to follow my dream. I became the first black official for the National Hockey League. To me, Black History Month celebrates sacrifices like my father made to give our multicultural family a better life. My name is Jay Shares, and I'm an official for the National Hockey League.
We're able to touch on things that are important to people on an everyday basis. Hello and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. In a lively half hour, news, sports, health, lifestyle information, comments from our viewers. Africa 54, the best for Africa, about Africa. Join us only on VOA.